Great. Can you please introduce yourself?
Yes, my name is David. I am MIT class of 2024, and I got in early action through Questbridge.
Raza?
Yeah, my name's Raza. I go to a school in South Jersey. I'm also part of MIT's class of 2024, but I got in regular decision after getting deferred EA. So,
Okay. So let's start with the first question that was pre-submitted. What was your GPA/SAT, and what top school did you get into?
Uh, so my GPA is on a 4 point scale. So unweighted it was a 4. Weighted at the time of applying, I think it was a 4.57, something like that. Um, SAT at a 1560. Um, Other schools I got into Stanford, Caltech, Princeton, Vanderbilt, Emory, Pomona, UVA, Virginia Tech, and I think that's it.
All right.
uh, yeah, so my school uses a 100-point GPA scale, which is like different. But if I were to translate, I think I had like a 98 unweighted and like a 108 weighted, which is like a 4.0 unweighted basically. But my rank was when at the time of applying, I was ranked 5 of like 603, and right now I'm ranked like 3 of like 595. But my school doesn't send updated mid-year ranks, so I was just going off of my junior year rank. My SAT was a 1550 super scored. The highest I got on any one sitting was a 1510. So I definitely think like the colleges don't care if your one sitting SAT was like high or not, as long as like your super score is high. I got into all the Ivies except for Cornell and Dartmouth, which I didn't apply to. I got into Caltech, Georgia Tech Early Action for Computer Science, and then Carnegie Mellon School of Computer Science too.
All right. So second question. How will you go about creating your ranked college list if you're a national college match finalist? I'm not sure if the reach target safety strategy will work as well here since the pool is more limited.
Honestly, I would just so at first I would rank as many schools as you think you would like going to, and then try to narrow it down from there. I think it's harder to add on schools the closer to the deadline you are. It's easier to remove schools. So I would just put as many schools as you think you would like to go to on the list to begin with, and then I would do more research, look at match rates, look at who they match, look at the qualifications for matching for that specific school, like income wise. And then from there, I would start to take schools off. Do note that 4 schools are non binding. To be binding, you could just rank the 4 non
Oh,
binding ones. I think
great. Sorry.
they're,
Can you
yeah,
just repeat the starting from the four schools? You just cut
yeah,
it out. Yep. Thank you.
yeah. So yeah, they're 4 non-binding schools, and you can rank only those if you want to. If you do choose to rank them, they're kind of like quote unquote free spaces, but since they're non-binding, almost everyone ranks them, which makes them super competitive. But I would start with a lot of every school in Questbridge is selective, so that sort of reach match safety strategy doesn't really work because every school in Questbridge has like sub 20 or something acceptance rate. It's really low. So pretty much every school in Questbridge is a reach. So I would just go for schools that you like first, and then take schools off as you find out they're not the fit for you.
Yeah, I would say don't rank the 4 non-binding. That's what I did. It's just kind of useless. because if you want to really go to one of the non-bindings, you'll always have a better chance doing early action or early decision. And chances are, even if you like ED to Penn or something like that, your financial aid package will be good. So like I wouldn't necessarily worry about like applying EA to a like REA to like Princeton, for example. That's the only place you apply to. It's if you get in and that was your first choice, then like you're sort of done the process. And the acceptance rates are a lot better than ranking them. So for me, Princeton was my top choice when I applied, but I decided to rank the 4 non-binding, like just in case I matched to one of them, because the scholarship would be better. But like in hindsight, I probably should have just like REA Princeton and then applied to other places, regular decision. But if you really have like one school that you want to go to, and it's a Questbridge partner, I would just EA or ED to that school. Because if they're a Questbridge partner, that means they meet 100% demonstrated need, and you're gonna get a good financial aid package unless it's like USC. So yeah.
All right. Thank you, guys. So, third question: what should we do to help ourselves stand out?
In what sense? Like writing or activities? Or...
I guess you could hit on all of them really because it's they were not specific. Or if you just want to hit on one of them, that's completely fine too.
I'll talk about writing. So in writing, like I think the best type of writing is the type of writing that you would put together when you don't have a lot of time to do something. And it sounds bad, but that's when your writing is the most raw, it's the most real, and it's more what you want to say. So something that I ended up doing, which I don't necessarily recommend, I wrote all my essays last like the day they were due, and I think having that rawness that applicants tend not to have. So I think to stand out in terms of writing, it's really important to just be as honest as you can while still keeping a central goal in mind, because you don't want to sound super flowery because that loses your goal, but at the same time you don't want to sound too raw, because if you do, then the content might not be like appropriate for an essay or have the level of language that a college essay should have. So I think that it's important to make sure that you keep a central goal in mind, because I feel like a lot of the essays that I read now, they're the goal, there's not really a central goal. They just kind of talk, and I think if you know exactly what you want to talk about in your essay, and just having that goal already set you apart from so. And I guess it's like I mean,
Great. Can
you can only.
Can you go back like 15 seconds and restate what you just said? You cut out. So.
All right. So yeah, I think it's super important to have a central goal when writing, because having that goal is already setting you apart from a ton of other students that are writing just because someone told them to apply to the school. So if you have 1 or 2 goals that you want to tackle with each essay, that is probably the best way for you to stand out in terms of writing. Now, in terms of activities, I don't really know too much on that. Like, I feel like I had fairly generic activities aside from one. But I don't think that one activity was what made or broke me. I think the way that you present it and write about it is everything. You could have somebody, you could do the same thing as someone else, but if they talk about it as if it was a chore and you talk about it as a life enriching experience, then obviously your experience about it will be much more compelling than theirs is. So I think in the end, it all comes down to how you present whatever you're writing about, whether it's your life, your activities, or home, or whatever it is.
I can elaborate more on like the extracurricular side of things. So I think something that helped me stand out was I sort of like identified a central passion sophomore year, summer going into junior year. Uh, and so that was like artificial intelligence and stuff like that. So my high school, I go to like a relatively poor area. I think like 80% of my school is on free or reduced lunch. Uh, so we don't have a lot of opportunities like anywhere even close to us. Like the closest opportunities we get to, we have to drive out to Philly to get them. So I went to like a free summer camp to learn artificial intelligence, which was one of those AI for all camps. And so I was connected to the AI for all like system where they can sort of like give you grant money for outreach projects. So that's exactly what I did. I just hosted an outreach project where I sort of tried to like emulate the camp at my high school. And that was supposed to be repeated this year, but it was going to be presented by two juniors who would then hopefully next year find two other juniors to do it. So it would be so like I set out to sort of create like a self-sustaining opportunity in my high school for people to like come learn and like get introduced to what AI and like computer science can really accomplish. So that was like just try to find, I'd say, if you're passionate about something but your school really doesn't have anything, like you might watch a bunch of YouTube videos on it, you might be able to reach out to people or like teachers in your school to see if you can start something at that school, and that shows that you're taking an initiative in what you're passionate about. You're not only like passionate about it because like, oh look, I watch YouTube videos and stuff, I'm quirky, I'm different. It's like I actually applied that knowledge to something useful, and I'm like looking out for my community and whatnot. So that's what I did.
All right, thank you, guys. So, the fourth question is, what does the National College Map application look for? Once again, this one's very general and broad. And I just want to preface this, guys, by saying Grade and Raza aren't like judges for your applications. So take so what they say might not necessarily be true. And I don't know, Grade, Raza, do you guys want to take a shot at this, or we can skip it, because really you guys aren't the judge of NCM applications.
Yeah, I don't really. I mean, yeah, I don't really know exactly what they look for. I mean, I just went through it like a couple months ago, so
Okay.
Yeah,
I'm not really a good judge.
I would just say they look for income, assets, things like that. They definitely hone in on that more, because I had a few friends who were college prep scholars because they had like high SAT and all that and whatnot, but they had inherited assets which were worth a lot of money, but like you can't really control what you inherit. So like all of a sudden their grandpa dies or something like that, like however many years ago, and all of a sudden they have like a house in New York and they weren't able to become college match finalists. So I think income's definitely a bigger factor for National College Match than it was for CPS.
All right, thank you, guys. So fifth question, what would you say is the most important part of a college application?
For y'all, essays, like anyone who's low income, essays very important, because most of the time you don't have opportunities for activities that people with more money tend to have. So you need to make sure that you write your pencil. That's all I can really say.
Yeah, just essays. Be sincere. That's the most important thing. You find out a lot about yourself when you write essays. You're probably going to get better at writing essays as you move through the college application. So, like, your regular decision essays might be better than your early ones or, like, your Questbridge ones, which I'll talk about later. But just be sincere.
Okay, so next question, guys. I mean, this is more of a fun one. If you could remove a Questbridge school partner, which one would you erase?
Yale.
Probably one I can't name, so I don't know.
Okay, that's fine. Raza,
I couldn't name it. Yeah.
Raza, do you want to expand on why Yale?
No.
All right, that's fine. Next one. Okay, so it seems like the person is asking: is the National College Match application similar to like the College Prep Scholar one, as in writing short essays, one long essays, etc.?
Yeah, pretty much. And one of the essays you is the same, um, except you get a couple more options. In your bio essay, you get more words, and there's a few extra short responses, but otherwise, it's very similar.
Okay. And this one is next question is a little bit more open ended. What scholarships are out there for low income first gen students? I think great. You guys can just list off a few. You don't have to list off many.
Yeah, Gates, Jack Kent Cook, Coca-Cola. If you're black, Ron Brown. Those are the biggest ones I could think of. Lockheed Martin as well. That opens kind of late, ends kind of late, but that's a pretty big one. Amazon, if you're going into CS.
All right, Ross, do you have anything to add to that?
Yeah, I definitely say go for the Amazon one if you're going into CS and look into it. It's a good one. I'd also just say apply to a bunch of local scholarships because if your estimated family contributions like $4,000, $5,000, you can help offset that. Whereas big scholarships like Jack Kent Cook, Gates, Lockheed Martin will not be able to offset that. Also, local scholarship money goes like straight into your bank account. So if you need a laptop or something like that, it's just better. That's something I regret about applying with scholarships. I should have went more local.
Okay, and I want to just lightly add on to what they said. In the Questbridge server right now, in the scholarship search, we have a multiple pin messages where you can find scholarship lists, and we will continue adding on to that. So don't worry too much about finding scholarships. Okay, so next question, guys. How have you helped or supported your community / student during this climate pandemic plus social injustice?
Well,
You can skip this
I
one.
see.
Both of you
As
guys.
personally, I've just been speaking out, posting links, advising people to donate if they can. And I guess now I am like part of this organization that's working to provide funds to BLM organizations by like tutoring people if they donate. And I think the one of the best ways to help is learning and you sign petitions, calling people, just doing everything in your power to help people who do need it. I think it's really important to inform people because what I'm finding is that a lot of people don't really understand what's going on, how we feel, and things like that.
Yeah, I mostly eat from local businesses because I own a local business. I went to 2 protests and I've just been like reading up on stuff and getting more well informed because like before I started like reading the links and signing the petitions, I wasn't really like aware of how like deep rooted and how bad everything was. So I definitely say like keep reading and sort of like go down that rabbit hole so you can really understand what's going on right now and make like better decisions in the future when it comes time to vote and things like that.
All right, thank you guys. All right, thank you guys. So next question: can you elaborate more on your extracurriculars?
Yeah. The main ones I did were choir, theater, and quiz bowl. I've done those for all 4 years of high school. Last year I joined a math group, and this year my school required me to do an internship, so I'm working at a particle physics lab. I'm building a detector to help understand what internal structures of protons and neutrons look like.
So my extracurriculars were very leadership oriented. So I was president of my school's National Honor Society. I was lieutenant governor of like the region of my school, of like my area's key club. So I was part of like a state level of key club. Um, I created that like opportunity in my school, and so I had to direct that and do all that jazz. Uh, what else? Oh yeah, I did mock trial for 4 years, just because I like talking. Uh, which is just it was just sort of like random, but it's just something I like to do. I threw for my school's track team for as long as I could. But the biggest thing was I like helped my family out with our restaurant. So that ate up a lot of my time for like my freshman and sophomore and a huge chunk of my junior year. So that's kind of it on my ECs.
Alright, thank you guys. So next question is, what would you say is an advantage of doing the Common App instead of Questbridge?
Editing your essays. Like with Questbridge, what's being sent to pretty much every school that you apply using the app is finalized before October, and 9.9 times out of 10, your writing improves drastically, even just between September and November, much less between September and January. So if you do the Common App, you have the chance to have writing that is more reflective of you, I think. I think you just get better as a writer as you do it more. So one risk of doing Questbridge is that you don't really get to change what you submit. And since this is the really first big app that you do your senior year, I know a lot of people regret applying to a lot of the places they did using the Questbridge app because the type of writing that they use is kind of outdated. Like I know even personally, in December when I was applying to a couple places, I did decide to use Common App, but a few schools that I was applying to, they already had my Questbridge app, and I felt a little uneasy about it because I knew that I could write better in December compared to September. So I think that's the biggest draw to using Common App over Questbridge.
Yeah, I would just say because you do Common App after Questbridge, but like applying Common App will let you apply early places if you want to do that, and that's always going to be an advantage over just trying to match because match rates are much lower than EAED. But your essays are way better, or like I felt like my writing was much more reflective of like my Common App was much more reflective of like my writing skill and style, but Questbridge just like sort of got more of a picture of me. If that makes sense, because like there's more places to showcase the different things you do. Because the Questbridge application, after completing it, I was like, you know what, I have nothing else to tell. But for Common App, I did have like a few other things that I wanted to mention in there that I threw into additional info. But I think just doing both after you do Questbridge and go through the match process, and like regular decision time comes, if you revise your bio essay for a Common App and you like that better, then just don't tick off those schools for Questbridge regular decision because they'll see that you're a national college match finalist.
Alright, thank you, Gray. Thank you, Raza. So next question is, given that juniors can't really engage in internships and such because of the current situation, how will you suggest being competitive and standing a chance against those who were involved in research and such since freshman year?
I think that writing, again, super important. I think this year more than ever, writing is going to be such a huge component of an application because a lot of activities have been canceled or will be canceled. for next year. So I would really take time to make sure that your writing is as open and as genuine as it can be, because it's going to mostly be that and how you describe the activities you have been doing in high school up to this point that will make you stand out. And also, I should say something. I think it's easier than people think to set something up within your community. Um, all it really takes is reaching out to like a superintendent or like a principal, and you can easily garner support for a virtual version of an activity that you wanted to do in person. And I think having different types of funds and initiatives that you can start in your own area is a really nice way to maintain that sort of drive and ambition that you had previously to now, and keep it into senior year.
I would say there definitely is like internships online. You just have to like fish for them. And also about the standing a chance against those who were involved in research since freshman year. You're not being compared like ever to people outside your own school environment. So unless you have like people in your school who've been doing research since freshman year, you don't really have to worry about it. You're only compared on how you were able to thrive within your own school community. But yeah, I'd say writing's going to be a huge component. Standardized test scores are going to be like, right? Right now, there's like plenty of time to study for SATs and ACTs and all that, but like, who knows what the curve is going to be? It's so random at this point. So I just say, yeah, focus on essays. You can do a bunch of online things. Like you can create like a Discord server for your community and whatnot, and write about that. Just like do what you can to stay engaged. You can even like write about like bettering yourself by working out every day of quarantine. As long as you're feeling productive right now, if you're ever asked a question about quarantine for like next year's applications, you'll be prepared to answer it.
All right. So next question is, what is your lowest AP score? Gray, Raza, you guys don't have to share this if you don't feel comfortable. So just tell me.
I got a 2 on physics.
What?
Which physics specifically? Like physics 1?
Physics 1. Yeah, physics 1.
Okay. Raza?
My lowest score was a 5.
All right, moving on. Next question. Why MIT?
So of course, great school for math, STEM, etc. That's part of the reason I chose it, but one of the biggest reasons I did choose it is because I felt this sense of community and wanting to be inclusive at MIT that I did not really feel at other schools. And I think one of the biggest things that showcased this to me was the virtual Advent weekend. I had attended a few events at other Advent weekends, and what really set MIT's apart is the fact that, for one, they had hundreds of activities. Like, I think over the 3-day actual official period, there was about 150, 200 events that all going on, different places, different times, and you really couldn't choose which one to go to. And I think that having such a large volume of events is really helpful, and really showed me that they cared a lot. And something else that set it apart was the fact that almost every admission officer, every advisor was in that Discord server with us, so we could readily ask them questions. They spoke to us like we were actual people. We could tell that they were real. They spoke on voice chat. Like, it was really, like, it was super inclusive, and it really made me feel like they cared so much about their incoming class and that they wanted to do the most that they could to ensure that MIT was a solid place for them. I think that too, that was a great reason why. In terms of location, I always wanted to live in a city. Again, I grew up outside of New York City, So I want to go back to a big city. That's where I thrive. And MIT is right across the road from downtown Boston. And also the ability to have easy to access research. They encourage every freshman to get Europe. I think by the time you graduate, 90+% of people ended up doing a research project. It's funded by MIT. It's so simple to get. You basically don't have to do any work to get it. There's just so many reasons why I ended up choosing the school over the others, and those were the biggest.
Yeah, my biggest reason was I just felt more welcome. Like I vibed with the people better, and that's what I went off of. And then like the Caltech group chats, I felt dumb, sort of. The Carnegie Mellon like school of computer science thing, all of them are like insanely good at computer science. It just like I felt a little out of place, even though I've been coding for so long. It's just like I feel like MIT has like a good culture of not wanting to show off as much as other schools, and it also feels like the students there are more genuine, which is I don't know how to explain it, but like school like the Ivy League schools they're more like they're happy to say that they have legacy people there, which is like it sort of feels weird when one of every two kids at Harvard's either like legacy or feeder or like sports. So I definitely wanted to go to like a nerdy school that was like fun and like not like socially awkward nerds. And MIT definitely like fits that quota. So
Okay. So next question. What are your career goals?
So that's the thing. I have no clue. Something in math or physics, maybe NASA, maybe SpaceX, maybe quantitative, whatever. I don't know. Maybe finance. I don't really know at the moment. I'll figure it out at some point.
my plans like work at one of the big five tech places for a bit, uh, make some bank, and then maybe work finance, maybe do a startup, like live with friends, travel the world. Who knows? Just try to do something. Uh, yeah, computer science is a very like money heavy, toxic field, which is like there's no way of sugarcoating it. Computer science is just really toxic and competitive as an environment. So it's a very get out of undergrad, do your work, retire early type of deal. So, but I hope to like create video games or something, maybe.
All right. So this question may be a little bit repetitive, but do you have any tips for kids that have a low GPA, especially now since tests are hard to prepare/take?
Yeah, I think I think you can definitely use additional info to explain yourself. Definitely try to make your extracurriculars as present them as strong as you can, because I guess crudely put, you want to try to distract them from that weaker part of your application. So I think it's really important to make other parts of your app really, really strong, so that a lower GPA doesn't stand out as much.
Ooh, I would say grind out your mid-year report. That's what I did. They're definitely looking for like an upward trend, and you guys still have hopefully we all have the beginning of school next year in person. So just try to like grind that out with stuff, because you only really have to work till your mid-year report. And they say like senior year isn't easy. I stacked up on really hard classes, and literally all I did was like school and like just grind it out, like studying tests, doing homework, getting my work done, working and all that for my mid-year report. And I think that really helped me with a lot of schools.
All right. So next question is, what are some things in your opinion that makes a really standout essay? And I want to just emphasize, guys, this is Gray and Roz's opinion. This is no way a missions officer's point of view.
I like seeing, I don't know. I like seeing raw. I don't know if that probably makes no sense, but I like seeing emotion, and I like seeing someone talk about it in a way that they have it under control. As in, they can look back at something that happened and they can speak about it in such a way that I know that they are mature enough to do whatever they please. I probably sounds weird, but I I enjoy seeing an emotional moment talked about in a way that signals that that person can look back and talk about it with confidence. I mean, that's just my opinion.
Yeah, I just sort of like narratives, like a nice story that sort of like connects different aspects and all comes like full circle at the end. If it's easy to read, that's what I'd look for. Some essays are just like flow weird, or like they feel forced. If it feels like genuine and it's easy to read and it flows well, that's already gonna be a good essay. So
All right, next question. Which university would you want to partner with Questbridge?
I feel like everyone wants Harvard to partner with Questbridge, but I don't know about that. I don't think I would want Harvard as a partner. Um, maybe like I would really like if more public schools, so maybe like a University of Illinois or like a UC or like a UT, like one of the I would like another public school because I think UVA is the only public school that's a partner.
I'd say like Northeastern because it's just a nice school, and they also meet 100% demonstrated need, so it's nice.
All right, thank you guys. So next question. Which Questbridge school or schools did you automatically cross off your applying list / decided to never apply to, and why?
Um, I so like I did not really want to go back to the South for school, so I crossed out everything that was the state below me. So like anything in the South, like Rice, Duke, all of that, I just never applied to because I did not want to stay in the South. And in terms of the West, um, in hindsight, I probably should have just crossed them off at the beginning because um, I had a feeling my mom wouldn't enjoy me going that far anyway. But I still applied. Everything that was not urban, I also crossed off because I need to live in like in the city, like not in the suburb, not in the middle of nowhere. I need to live in the middle of the city. I need to go to school that's in the middle of the city. So after all that, they didn't leave too many partners left. But those are my main criteria: in a city, not in the south, and also like strong STEM as well, since that was what I was pursuing. So those are my three criteria.
I didn't apply to Dartmouth because they're not very STEM heavy. Like I didn't apply to a lot of like strong humanities schools just because I want to get into STEM. So yeah.
All right, next question. In your experience, what do you think is the biggest mistake people make on their national college match application?
Uh, I don't really know. I haven't looked at many other people's applications. I also don't know. I haven't looked at as enough of people who do not get finalists to know to see a trend or anything. But I'd assume it's most likely just an income thing. I'm not saying to lie about your income, you can't really control that, but I have a feeling that a lot of people who don't become a finalist, it's due to their income. But sometimes you don't really know. Like, I can't pinpoint a single reason. Like, this is what people do wrong. I don't really know.
I'd say doing it like 3 hours before it's due.
Okay, don't. Okay.
All right. I
No.
mean, short and simple. All right. Next question. What is the most positive and most negative experience you've had with Questbridge, and how would you recommend navigating through the whole college app process?
Let's get the negative out the way first. 2 weeks to write supplements for up to 12 schools is actually insane. I wish they gave us a little bit more time when it comes to that. I guess it works fine if you're only ranked like 1 or 2, but if you are banking on Questbridge to get a full ride, having to write for so many schools in such a small period of time, with the peak of first semester happening because it's toward the middle, that's just not a good look. And this is strictly just through the application cycle. Positives. There are some schools through Questbridge that you don't have to write supplements for, since you're using the Questbridge app. MIT is the biggest one. Since you're applying with your Questbridge app, you don't have to do any of the MIT supplements because you're not using the MIT app. And a couple of the schools are like that too. I know Vanderbilt, Emory, and Pomona. They all have no subs if you use the Questbridge app. That's probably the best part about this application. Also, it's all free. That's also good too.
I'm gonna start with the negatives. It's due before you find out what your EFC is. So if half of the schools like listed only really match to EFC 0 and you have like EFC $14, you're like already out of the running for half the schools you listed, which is just like, eh. Another negative was I remember after not matching and not getting in like EA anywhere I could afford, I emailed Questbridge and I was like, should I wait for you guys to put out like the Questbridge supplements form for regular decision schools? And they emailed me back and they were like, yeah, we'd wait on those. But if you wait, you only have like 2 weeks to your regular decision supplements, which is definitely not enough time. And the only supplements that really changed was Yale. And they didn't even change. They just like had 3 supplements less. So I don't know why they told me that. So if you don't match, don't get an EA, then start regular decision supplements as they're listed on the Common App, because those are probably going to be the same for Questbridge. Positive experience was having the Questbridge essays go out to certain schools like MIT and Yale without having to do like all the extra work with supplements. Another positive is that it's free. And like this community is great. I definitely like talking this Discord the most out of like random Discords without like my real life friends in them. I remember I was gonna say another positive, but I'm blanking on it, so I might go back on it.
That's completely fine. So I know Gray and Raza, you guys both alluded to this a little bit for this question, but I just want to ask it and just get a direct answer. If I can get good financial aid either way, is it worth it to go through the match with such low chances, or just a regular decision, or do regular decision with Questbridge versus Common App?
Depends on if you like one school a lot, I think there's really no reason not to ED to that school, especially if they aren't a Questbridge partner, since aid pretty much always matches up. In terms of regular decision, I would just be wary about knowing that your Common App will have more up-to-date essays because you can actually choose to write them and submit them at a later deadline rather than having all the Questbridge stuff due in September. I don't like, even though I applied pretty much everywhere with my Questbridge app. I think I applied to maybe 3 schools with Common App. I do think that people should definitely consider using their Common App for regular decision, because you have probably so much improved your writing by that point that you're actively hurting yourself if you don't choose to at least adapt your Questbridge essays to fit the Common App and to write those supplements in a way that you know is going to be better than what you wrote for Questbridge. In terms of ranking, I mean, personally, I would have been fine if I didn't rank anything, because I ended up I didn't match. The other 2 schools I ranked, I got in RD, and I don't think me doing Questbridge would have changed my admission status to MIT. I don't think the app I used was any indicator that I was going to get in or not. So I really think it just comes up to what your goal is during this process, and if you want to apply to many schools and would be fine with going to any of those schools. I think it just comes down to how much you want.
Yeah, I think the Questbridge app did help me get into MIT, because I was looking at like the normal, because like MIT has their own special application for whatever reason. And I was looking at those essays and I was like, yeah, no, I probably couldn't have done that and got my ideas across. So like MIT sort of felt like a happy accident, because I really wanted to go to Princeton, and then I realized I like vibed better with the students going to MIT. So it was good to have options at that point. But no, I would just EA or ED if you really want to go to a school, because like even if you ED, it's like quote unquote binding. But if you can't afford the financial aid package, then you can just say no to that school, and all of a sudden it's not binding. So I don't really see a risk, especially when like match rates are so low to like Ivy League schools or like top like 10 schools. It's already really low. So I don't see any harm in doing EA or RD over Questbridge, as long as you can get your same ideas across. Oh, and I forgot a negative experience about Questbridge was I went to one of those like in-person Questbridge conferences, and I talked to one of the financial aid people who like worked for Questbridge, who like determines which students get to become national college match finalists and which don't. And I was asking them if my parents owning a small business would affect me in any way with matching to schools, and they said yeah, which was like surprising, but it makes sense. So if your family does own a business or anything where income can fluctuate, then because colleges are like a business in the end, so they're not going to give you a 4-year scholarship if your business can go from earning $40,000 a year to like $3 million the next year, right? Because businesses are volatile. It really depends on outside factors. So schools would probably be less likely to give you a full 4-year scholarship if your income could fluctuate drastically year to year. So it's like a bit riskier, was what the person told me. And I guess that's not a negative to Questbridge. It's just something I should have like actually considered, because I was like, it's whatever. But oh yeah, it's still worth it if your family owns it to do National College Match Finalist, because it's like a national award, and it isn't impossible to match. It's just colleges would weigh that differently from other students.
Okay. So just 2 more questions, guys. The first one is it worth doing the supplements now, if they already know which colleges they want to apply to, and the colleges release their supplements?
You could look at them, but I don't think writing them now is going to do much good for you, because I tried doing that last summer. I ended up rewriting everything the last day, because I went back and read what I had written, and it just was not good. So I think you could start maybe circulating ideas for what you might want to write, but I would not start writing now because if you will most likely just end up rewriting that or completely changing it because even between now and September, your writing's going to change a lot. It's 3 months for you to read more, talk to more people, get more ideas. So I think writing now limits yourself. I wouldn't do it.
I wrote all my essays, like, except for my main essay. I wrote all my essays, like, a few days before the deadline, which is, I don't know, it's whatever. If you can write well before a deadline, like, if you procrastinate, like, a school essay, then you'll definitely be fine procrastinating, like, college essays. But I've also had friends who did, like, literally all of their college stuff summer of senior year, and then all they had to do was copy paste and pay the application fee, and they got into the schools they wanted to just fine. So it depends on like how you write. If you're confident in your ability, if you know you're going to be busy senior year and you just want to get it done out of the way during the summer, I don't really see any harm in doing that.
Okay, thank you guys. And the last question is, which Questbridge school has the ugliest mascot?
Ugliest names, Penn. I think it's a Quaker. I mean, I know what it is, but that's just so out of my field. Like, I don't get it.
Dude, Harvard's mascot's weird, but that's not a Questbridge school.
Good
Stanford's a tree, so.
Oh, Dartmouth is a keg, I think. Which is it's not even like a person. Like, yeah, I don't know. So some weird mascots.
Yeah, MIT and Caltech have the same mascot.
Okay, Caltech just wants to copy MIT. That's the whole reason.
The CaltechRejects.com goes to MIT.edu. And then they bought the MIT domain, so.
Really?
Yeah, there's no MITRejects.com.
Alright, guys, I'll end it here. Let me just pause recording.